friends, welcome to ThinkerViews podcasts where we share our book reviews with you. We have met Aru Shah and her Pandava soul sisters in the first segment of an entertaining adventure fiction series of books written by author Roshani Choksi and reviewed by us at ThinkerViews blog as well as on the audio podcast platforms with the title Aru Shah and the End of Time, Pandava series. At the end of the first book, Aru Shah and the End of Time, we got a glimpse of the third Pandava sister briefly, and so now exploring their further journey, we had a chance to read the second book of the series, namely Aru Shah and the Song of Death. Let's now take a look at the cover page of this second installment, which is also part of the same series of paperback copies that we have picked up together. This second book has a blue and yellow color theme, just as vibrant as book number 1. It also has the illustration of the female protagonist, and around her are a variety of symbols. When you read the book, you will understand what the glowing object in the center is along with its significance. So on the whole, it is an eye-catching, impressive cover page, but there is some room for improvement. Let's take a look at the storyline. So it feels like Aru and Minnie have just finished their first quest and are now getting some long due training in Otherworld from the Council of Guardians. When on a sleepy Saturday, the bow and arrow of Kamadeva is stolen. Not only that, the thief was a shapeshifter and stole these items while in form of Aru and their new soul sister Bryn. Bryn is the daughter of Vayu, so the current reincarnation of Bhima, loves to cook, is super strong and currently is super mad at Aru for the current troubles. The Council of Guardians has a special meeting, including Naga Queen Ulupi and her associate Takshak, who don't believe that the Pandavas were not responsible for this theft. If the Pandavas cannot prove their innocence by finding the real thief and recovering the bow and arrow, then they will be exiled from the otherworld, thus leaving the sleeper and his associates complete freedom to bring chaos. And so the next quest begins for Aru, Minnie, Bryn, and Aiden. Aiden has a special dispensation to join Pandava adventures along with his camera Shadowfax, and we'll find out later why. Why would someone steal the bow and arrow of Kamadeva? Well, apparently this makes people heartless and turns them into zombies. A very useful army indeed if you wanted to steal Amrit from the Kshir Sagar. The first step for Aru and the girls then is to survive zombie attacks and meet Kamadeva. From here, they start their journey to the underwater Nagaloka. They meet the Lord of the Seas, Varun, and his wife Varuni, find some answers, some hidden treasures, and some betrayals. Minnie is taken by the secret keeper Naginis in return for the heart jewel for Ulupi. The Pandavas go to sage Durvasa for some help and some answers. With his advice, they travel to the land of Ratri to free their dear friend. Minnie tells them that the bow and arrow were stolen by Surpanakha, and the only way to revive the heartless zombies would be to plunge the arrow of Kamadeva in Surpanakha's heart. The Pandavas start their journey to the Kshir Sagar, but their way is barred by none other than the god of fire, Agni. If they survive him, there are yet many monsters in their way, and time is a ticking. Will the Pandavas have to face another exile, or will they complete their quest? That is to be found by reading the book. Let's now discuss my thoughts on the book. As far as the storyline goes, the book remains a jumbo patchwork of the mishmash of legends and stories from Mahabharat and other Indian mythological stories. The main attraction of the book still is the author's light-hearted prose, snappy dialogues, and humor. She takes her young charges through the normal pangs of awkward attraction to comfortable friendships, while showing us their fears, doubts, and insecurities when it comes to their families. All of them have a need to belong somewhere, and that's essentially how they become a family with their Pandava souls. Like the first book, the author keeps building this fantastic realm that exists along with the world as we know it, and she mimics some of our well-known bureaucratic bits as well. For example, the bit below is a good reflection on how we travel. Please take out all laptops, cellular devices, cursed items, and weapons of mild devastation. Bottled constellations or enchanted bodies of water must be kept in a 3-ounce container. Please note that Samsung Galaxies are now banned as per the Otherworld Transportation Security Guidelines. Although Aru and Mini have been on one quest and now practice with their divine weapons all the time, for Bryn and Aidan this is the beginning of the journey, and all 4 of them still are full of self-doubt. When you feel insecure or doubt yourself, it is also very easy to doubt others and not open up to them. No wonder the first few encounters between the sisters are prickly. No one can take your place if you make room for them. Trust yourself more than you distrust others. Families weren't like a box of standardized tests taking number 2 pencils. Families were like a box of assorted color Sharpie markers. Different, kinda stinky, but not in a bad way. And permanent, whether you liked it or not. Sometimes, when things went wrong, it was easier to blame what was in her blood than to take responsibility. The author does bring up the discussion about good and bad, white and black a few times in this book as well. As you know, Mahabharat is filled with shades of grey, and here the author uses many stories, for example Eklavya's story, to point out that sometimes good people do bad things and bad people do good things. Although Pandavas are generally seen as the good guys, there were many who didn't think so. Takshak held a grudge against them for generations for burning up the Khandav Prastha, for one. Same goes for the Devas and Asuras. Devas acted less than honorably on many occasions, and just having Asura blood in your veins didn't make you a monster. The gods have no interest in protecting this world. Despite their immortality, despite their powers, the gods never keep their word. So the author keeps the Pandava sisters going through repeated assessments of how they see the world and to try and see both sides of every story. There are a lot of characters in these old stories who appear to be treated unfairly. But what is fair? Fairness is but an idea conceived by someone who has the power to make such pronouncements. Just because something is not fair does not mean it is without reason or even compassion. Fairness is a multifaceted gem. Its appearance can vary depending on the angle of the beholder. And that every story can be told in many ways. Stories lived 1,000 lives. Many tales from around the world were similar. That didn't make them unoriginal or bad, but rather proof that people cared about and were frightened of the same things, no matter where they lived. Each culture put their own spin on the same universal story, keeping it alive in many different versions. All young adults have to navigate the minefield of the world around them as they make their way into adulthood, and Aru, Minnie, Bryn, and Aidan are the same, except that their journey is filled with quests for otherworldly treasures, fights with demons and monsters, and filled with heavy responsibilities. In spite of all this, they do need to learn the fundamental truths about being human and keep optimistic in the dark times. I have seen your nightmares. They are seeded with moments of doubt, watered with the pain of tears not shed, and pruned by the costs of paths not taken. But that does not make them true. A person could use up material things, but it was harder to exhaust an idea. An idea was impossible to burn. The book is generally well written and well published, except for occasional typographical errors. For example, on page 309, the last line is printed as "She must be trying to get in from the other side," which should read "She must be trying to get in from the other side." The author brings in a lot of popular cultural references again, like Aru's fondness for The Lord of the Rings, her love for movies, Hollywood and Bollywood. There is a very Moana-like sequence with a giant crab, probably because Disney are partners in this adventure. So in summary, it's an enjoyable adventure filled with fun and friendship, and a good installment that carries forward the series. ThinkerViews rating for the book is at around 8 out of 10. We would love to hear from you if you have read this series of books and are enjoying this. Or are there any other series of books that you have been enjoying reading and would like us to read and review here at ThinkerViews platforms? Please hit the like button, add a comment, or subscribe to the channel. And until the next time, thank you for listening.